Merhaba sevgili Tivibu Spor izleyicileri. Bugün Darüşşafaka koçu David Blatt ile birlikteyiz. Lokomotiv Kuban'la oynanacak final öncesi kendisiyle detaylı bir görüşme yapacağız. Bakalım final öncesi koç neler düşünüyor. Coach, welcome.
Thank you.
And first of all, congratulations on the final in EuroCup. Let me ask you, most people didn't expect this. Did you expect this?
Well, in the beginning of the season, I really didn't even think about it. Just wanted to see our team grow, blend and mesh together, and see if we could reach our maximum potential. I felt that if we could do that, we'd have a chance. But no, I can't say honestly in the beginning of the season I expected us to be in the final.
But during this season, we've been broadcasting the EuroCup games, so we've been following that closely. That meshing has been probably achieved more than you could expect, or anybody could expect.
Yeah, I think our guys have from day one followed the philosophy that we set forward, which was to commit to excellence. Every day to come in the gym and to try to do their best and to gain a meter, gain ground each and every day, and that commitment to excellence has given, I think, the team a sort of bonding and a sort of raison d'être in French, which is reason for being, which has grown organically and allowed us to, I think, make more of our group than originally expected.
For example, the role of Will Cummings in the beginning of the season and during this season, and especially Howard Sanros's role and his overall play level in the beginning of the season, in the middle of the season and at now, probably is a good indication of the team. And of course, Michael Eric. What do you think about these changes within the team?
I mean, naturally, as the season develops and players become more comfortable in their roles and coaches become more comfortable with how they want to use the players and what works in terms of combinations on the floor, you're going to see some guys go up and perhaps some guys go down in terms of minutes played. I mean, it's natural. Fatigue and injury play a role in that as well. What I've liked about our group, as I said, and I'll say it again, is that, on a day-to-day basis, the guys have been committed and have done their best to be their best. And that's allowed, I think, at one point or another, each and every guy to come to the forefront and to do things that were above and beyond what originally may have been expected. I also think that the good attitude and the good chemistry and the good locker room vibe that we have helps guys to push one another and create an environment where healthy competition amongst players makes each and every one of them a little bit better.
Coming back to Howard Sanros,
Yes.
I think the word blossom really explains him during the season.
Yeah.
But after the injury, he got a little bit went back. But in the middle of the season, during the top 16 games, I mean, he transformed into a player that he has never reached before.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good example of a guy that started at point A and is now, well along the process.
He finished the alphabet.
Yeah, to being, a high-level player. Howard has worked. He's taken to coaching. He's listened. He's improved different areas of his game. The way that we play, I think, is good for him in terms of his skill set. And I think the fact that he enjoys being in a winning environment, enjoys being in a competitive environment, has helped him to raise his level. And no question, Howard has done a fantastic job this year.
Did you ever envision him as the main playmaker when you started the season?
Well, I don't know that Howard is our main playmaker, but if you mean making plays, yeah, I think that's a fair observation. I tell my coaches this all the time. There's some players that just do stuff. He's one of those guys. He just does stuff. Now, what is it exactly? And is it always the same? No. But at the end of the game, you see a guy that has 3 steals and maybe 5 rebounds and suddenly a block or
A key
6 or
defense.
7 assists or a great stop on defense. You know, he's that kind of guy. He just does stuff.
Coming back to Michael Eric, I think he's a player that blossomed also.
Yeah.
He has this unique skill set that's very, very valuable, but he has a very hard time handling the ball at times, and this has probably crippled his many chances. But during the season, he developed in such a way. He made tremendous strides, and in the series against Bayern Munich, of course, Scottie Wilbekin was the star, but he was probably the most crucial player on the court.
I agree with you. You know, Michael is a guy that has accepted his role and has taken to the things that we've asked from him consistently, you know, to anchor our defense, to be a rebounder, to run the floor as a big guy, to finish under the basket, and sort of to be a locker room leader, because Mike is a guy of great character and intelligence, and
he looks like a bruiser, though.
He's a super teammate. Yeah, well, he plays physically, and that's good. You need that.
Yeah,
you want your big guy to set the tone for you physically and defensively. And Michael has accepted that and has taken to that, and as you said, has blossomed under that.
One other player that is very important for Turkish national team too, Furkan Aldemir. After he came from the NBA, he was kind of in this funk, and he couldn't get out of this funk for a long while. He showed some glimpses, but during the past 2 months, I think he's really come back to himself. What was the process behind that?
You know, what I think happened with Furkan was that he was playing in the Turkish league at a very, very high level as a 5, doing the things that he does the best. And as a result, you know, drew the interest of the NBA, in this case specifically the 76ers. But when he went there, for whatever reason, they decided that he needed to play a different position, needed to change his body, lost a lot of weight, began to focus on parts of the game that he was not particularly suited for. And when he came back, he found that he was really caught between what he was and what somebody tried to make him into. And it took him time to reestablish himself and to reestablish his game according to what his real skill set is, and physically to grow back into the type of player that he was before. You know, Fu came back many kilos less than what he was, and had to redo his body when he came back and become again the strong, rebounding, physical type player that he needs to be.
Okay. The star of the team, Scottie Wilbekin, of course. He had some small injury problems, but after the injury period, especially during the last 1.5 months, he's playing awesome.
Yes.
How is he handling the change of role, change of scenery from EuroLeague to EuroCup, and how he's handling being the star of the team? And he has to carry such a huge load.
Yeah. Well, you know, the nicest thing about the development of Scottie Wilbekin has been not as much him as a player, but more so him as a person and as a personality and a persona. And to see the way that he's taken the leadership role on and off the court with the team, to see the way that he has grown in terms of his day-to-day approach, you know, it's really an exemplary thing, and I think in no small part the great play that he's shown has to do with the fact that he's comfortable in his own skin, being a leader, being a positive persona in the team, having the responsibility on a day-to-day basis to carry a heavy load, and knowing he needs to prepare himself for that in every way, mentally and physically and emotionally, And look, Scottie has been, I think, hands down the best player in the EuroCup. He was a very, very good player in the EuroLeague last year as well, but this year he's just shown that he's grown as a person and as a player, and his consistency of performance shows that.
He's a great player, of course, but
Yeah.
do you think he's the best he's ever been in the last 2 months?
I think yes. Now, don't misunderstand me. I've seen Scottie play some great, great games. I know he has for me last season as well. But I just think consistently he's been there this year, and that's the difference.
And consistently he's taking the responsibility of taking the biggest shots in the biggest
Sure.
in the biggest positions.
Yes, that's true.
Coming back to you, this season the aim has changed, the team has changed,
Yes.
and the budget has been lowered. What did you expect, and what because last year you were saying that you want to build something,
Yeah.
and you can, of course, you've built a great team that has come to the finals. But at the beginning of the season, what was your view for the season?
You know, that's a good question because, as you mentioned, things did change and change rather drastically for us. But what we did together with Mita Demiral, our general manager, and with the staff that we have, who really are great, you know, and I'm happy and lucky to be working with the coaches and the support staff around us, was we decided that we would bring in players who were perhaps less well known, certainly lower priced, very hungry, and very, very anxious to try to prove themselves on a larger scale, on a bigger stage. And then we, as a staff and as a group of players, as I said before, committed to excellence and to the idea of being the best that we could be and making the most of what we have. And that's been very, very fulfilling for me, to be honest with you, because we've been able to do that. You know, now, had we not been able to do that, or had we not had the type of people with good character and good personality, then maybe the year would have been very disappointing. But it turns out that we come to work every day with great joy and great desire, and we live what we breathe, so to speak. You know, we try to be those things that we want to be, and we try to show that on a daily basis. So I've been happy.
I've seen an internet meme showing you as the Uncle Sam, be all you can be, and you've got a reputation as bringing out the best in not so heralded players. Is there a secret for this? I mean, I can go back to Russian national team, to Devon Smiths of Maccabi on every level. This year, Howard Rose, I can name all these players. Is there a secret?
Well, you know, coaching is a lot of things, but one of the main things I think about being an effective and a successful coach is being a human being. You know, understanding who you're working with, having a sense of empathy, a sense of pathos, a sense of sympathy for those people, and knowing where it is they're from, what it is they're about, and then trying to help them take all of those different factors and push them in the right direction to be and to make the most of themselves. And I see that as a big part of my job. If I see players growing, and if I see players improving, and if I see players successful as a team member, as an individual, as a part of their future, then I feel like I've won. And that, you know, that makes me all the more motivated to get the best out of my guys.
More often than not, the players you have worked with has blossomed.
Yes.
In many levels. You set your aims for this year, and now you reached the finals. And nobody, and you said yourself that you wanted to develop the system. Probably nobody expected this, but during the season, during the top 16, I thought that Daçka had a chance to go to the final.
Yeah.
When did you feel that this team was going to be a little bit more special?
After the first group, when we were undefeated in the group until Scottie went down with an injury, and we had already qualified in first place. So really, the last few games were less important, and we did even lose a couple of games, but they were not significant. I felt that we had the kind of team that could compete to go all the way, and I even told the players that at that time, not before. After the first group, I said we have the right to feel and to believe that we can compete for the championship.
Especially after Howard Sanros's astronomical rise, I said that this might be the second best team in Europe, because that's what I think. Now everybody thinks that your final opponent, Lokomotiv Kuban,
Yes.
is the favorites,
Yeah.
because they won 20 out of 20.
Yes.
Respects for them.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about the final?
Well, I think that's fair. I mean, there's no reason to try and put a cloud over that. I mean, they have had a tremendous season, have been the dominant team in the competition. But I like to say what I tell my players. They haven't played us yet,
Yeah.
so we'll see.
All right. Some kind of thing I remember back in the 2015 Final Four, right? When you won with
2014.
14, yeah, with Maccabi.
Mhm.
Anyway, technically, what do you think about the matchup? Because Kuban is, of course,
Yeah.
a little bit of
Well, I think that number one, they're a very deep team. They have quality 1 through 12, and they play that way too. They play with a lot of different combinations, with a lot of different players. The quality level when they go, 8, 9, 10, 11, even 12 deep does not change significantly. They have experience. They have good coaching. And they have obviously the confidence of a team on a tremendous winning streak. So, they're a very serious opponent, and we certainly have to bring our A game if we want to be successful in this championship.
good luck on the final. And
Thank you.
one last bit about what does David Blatt plan for the future? Because everybody's talking. You're a very sought after coach, and now that your contract will be up, everybody's talking about you. We've been hearing all these NBA rumors, especially coming out of Milwaukee and lately from New York Knicks too. I know that during the season you don't get involved in these contracts, but what do you think?
Well, I'm hearing the rumors too, but honestly, they're just rumors. I have not yet, as of yet, spoken to anyone from the league. Generally, teams start their process at the very end of the season. Perhaps they're in the thinking stage, and when seasons end for non-playoff teams, that process quickly accelerates. But I have, as of yet, heard nothing specifically from anyone. I hope to, because I said this last summer when there were no changes in NBA coaches, that at the end of this season I'd like to try again and see if I can find a job back in the NBA. And that's what I'll do. I'll go through the process when the process starts. If it happens for me, then I'll be thrilled. If it doesn't happen for me, then I'll be thrilled to stay here in Europe, because obviously it's a place that I'm very comfortable in as well.
Thank you very much, Mr.
My
Blatt.
pleasure. Thank you, man.
Good luck in the final.
Thanks for being with us.
Darüşşafaka koçu David Blatt'le birlikteydik. Lokomotiv Kuban'la çok zorlu bir final karşılaşmasına çıkacaklar. Şimdiden finale çıkarak büyük başarı kazandılar ama onlara bu finalde de kupayı ülkemize getirecek ikinci takım olmaları için başarılar diliyoruz.